Good morning, students. Today we will discuss some important theorems related to free modules. So our first theorem today is every finitely generated left R module is a homomorphic image of a finitely generated free R module. Here, this R is a ring with unity. Now, because M is finitely generated left R module and the ring also has unity element, therefore, by definition of finitely generated R module, there will exist finite number of elements from the module M. Let us take these elements are x1, x2, x3 and so on up to xn, such that M is generated by these n elements. Now let us take the set of all the n tuples over the ring R and we have denoted it by F. Yesterday we discussed that this set of all the n tuples over the ring R, that is a left R module under the component wise addition and component wise scalar multiplication. And if we take EI as the vectors having 1 in the ith place and all the other coordinates 0, then this is an element of the ring Rn, and this kind of elements E1, E2, E3 up to En, they forms the basis of Rn over the ring R. So we can say that F, which is we have denoted by Rn, that is finitely generated free R module, because this is the basis for this module. Now let us define a mapping F from F into the module M. Now to define this mapping, let us take an element from F. So by definition of F, the elements of F are of the form of n tuples over the ring R. So let us take A having the components A1, A2, A3 up to An. This is an element of F, and these AIs, they are from the ring R. Now because M is finitely generated module, so the element summation AI xi, where I varies from 1 to n, this will belong to the module M. So we can define the mapping. We have taken the element A from F and we can take this element as the image of A. So we have defined the mapping image of A under F is equal to summation AI xi, where I varies from 1 to n. Now we claim that this mapping F is epimorphism of left R modules. So first of all, we will show that this mapping F is well defined. To show that F is well defined, let us take two elements A and B belonging to F. So by definition of F, these elements will be of the form of n tuples. So we have taken A of the form having the components A1, A2, A3 up to An, and B having the components of the form B1, B2, B3 up to Bn. Now let us take these two elements A and B are equal. So by definition of equality of these A and B, their each coordinate that will be same. So each AI will be same as BI, and therefore we can say that summation AI xi will be same as summation BI xi. And by definition, this is f of A and this is f of B. So we have proved the mapping F is well defined. Now next we are to prove that this mapping is homomorphism of R modules. To prove homomorphism, let us take two elements A and B belonging to F, and we find the image of A plus B under this mapping F. Now by definition of addition of A and B, coordinate wise addition, so A plus B will become A1 plus B1, A2 plus B2, A3 plus B3 and so on. Last coordinate will be AN plus BN. Now By the definition of mapping F, the image of this element under F, that is given by summation ai plus bi into xi, where I varies from 1 to n. And this can further be written as summation aixi plus summation bixi. Now by definition of mapping F, this is image of element A under F, and this element is the image of B under F. So we have proved image of A plus B is equal to image of A plus image of B. This proves one of the conditions of homomorphisms. Now to prove the second condition, let us take an element R belonging to the ring R. And A we have already taken from F. Let us find the image of RA. Now by definition of scalar multiplication, the element RA is of the form of n-tuple, having the components RA1, RA2, RA3 and so on up to RAN. Let us find the image of this element under F. By definition of mapping F, this will be summation RAI into xi, where I varies from 1 to n. And this can further be written by taking element R out of the summation. So this can be written as R into summation AIXI, where I varies from 1 to n. And by definition, this is image of A under F. So we have proved image of RA under F is equal to R into image of A under F. So this proves that the mapping F is homomorphism of R modules. Now next we prove that this mapping is onto. To prove this, let us take an arbitrary element X belonging to M. By definition, because M is finitely generated, so it can be written as summation R into xi, where I varies from 1 to n. So X will be of the form of finite sum, having the form summation AIXI, where I varies from 1 to n. Now these AIs, A1, A2, A3 up to AN, these are the elements of ring R, and therefore the n-tuple formed by these, that will be an element of Rn. So we have obtained an element A belonging to Rn. Now let us find the image of this element under F. Now by definition of mapping F, this is given by summation AIXI, where I varies from 1 to n, and this element is X. So we have proved for X belonging to M, there exists an element A belonging to F, such that X is the image of A under F. So this proves that F is onto. So the mapping F from F into M is epimorphism of left R modules. So we can see that this M is homomorphic image of finitely generated free R module. Next, there is a corollary related to this theorem. In this we prove that a finitely generated module is isomorphic to the factor module of a finitely generated free R module. To prove this theorem, you will continue this theorem, and then let us take the kernel of this mapping F, that is G. Now because the mapping F is onto homomorphism, so we can use fundamental theorem. So by fundamental theorem of homomorphisms of R modules, we can see that the factor module F by G is isomorphic to M. Thus we can say that M is isomorphic to this factor module, and this is the factor module of a finitely generated free module. So this completes the proof. Now in the next theorem, we have M is free R module having the basis consisting of the elements x1, x2, x3 up to xn. Then we are to prove that M is isomorphic to Rn. Rn is the set of n tuples over the ring R. Now to prove this, now because M is free module, having the basis consisting of the elements x1, x2, x3 up to xn, and also Rn, the set of n tuples over the ring R, that is also a module over the ring R under the component wise addition and scalar multiplication, and also the elements of the form having 1 in the ith place. This 1 is the unity of the ring R, and all the other coordinates 0. Such kind of elements, they forms the basis of Rn. So these vectors e1, e2, e3 up to en, they forms a set which is the basis of Rn, and therefore Rn is a free R module. Now let us define a mapping from Rn into M. To define this mapping, let us take an element of the form of n tuples from Rn. So by definition, a1, a2, a3 up to an, these are the elements of R. And because M is having the basis consisting of elements x1, x2, x3 up to xn, so the linear combination summation ai xi, that will be an element of M. So we can define the mapping image of this element having the components a1, a2, a3 up to an. Image of this element under the mapping phi is summation ai xi, where I varies from 1 to n. Now we have to prove that this mapping is an isomorphism of R modules. So first of all, let us prove this is a homomorphism. To prove homomorphism, let us take A and B, two elements belonging to Rn. So these are of the form of n tuples, where these a1, a2, a3 up to an, these are the elements of the ring R. And here also the components of B, they are also the elements of the ring R. Now let us find the image of A plus B under the mapping phi. So by definition of coordinate wise addition, A plus B is having the components a1 plus b1, a2 plus b2, a3 plus b3, and so on up to an plus bn. Now the image of this element under phi, by definition of phi, this can be written as summation ai plus bi into xi, where I varies from 1 to n. Now this can further be written as summation ai xi plus summation bi xi, here I varies from 1 to n. So by definition, this is the image of A under phi, and this is the image of B under phi. So we have proved first condition of homomorphism. Image of A plus B is equal to image of A plus image of B. Now to prove the second condition, let us take an element R belonging to the ring R and A belonging to Rn. Let us find the image of Ra under the mapping phi, putting the value of A here, and by definition R into this vector, that will become Ra1, Ra2, Ra3 up to Ran. Now the image of this n tuple under phi, by definition of phi, this is given by summation Rai into xi. Now we can take R out of the summation. Inside we have summation ai xi, which is the image of A under phi. So we have proved image of element Ra is equal to R into image of A. So this proves that the mapping phi is homomorphism of R modules. Now next, it remains to prove that this mapping is 1, 1 and on 2. So to prove mapping phi is 1, 1. To prove 1, 1, let us take two elements A and B belonging to Rn, such that the image of these two elements are same under the mapping phi. Now by definition of phi of A, that is the linear combination summation ai xi, where I varies from 1 to n, and phi of B, that is summation bi xi, where I varies from 1 to n. Now we can write by shifting this term on the left side, we will get summation ai minus bi into xi is equal to 0. Now this is a linear combination formed by the vectors x1, x2, x3 up to xn, and this linear combination is equal to 0. And because these vectors are linearly independent, being the basis, so all these scalars in this linear combination will be 0. So we can say that ai minus bi, that is 0 for every I varying from 1 to n. So each ai is equal to each bi, and therefore the n tuple formed by a1, a2, a3 up to an, that is same as the n tuple formed by b1, b2, b3 and so on up to bn. So we have proved a is equal to b. So this proves that the mapping phi is 1, 1. Now finally, it remains to prove that mapping phi is onto. To prove onto, let us take an arbitrary element phi belonging to M. Now because we are given the vectors x1, x2, x3 up to xn, they forms the basis of M over the ring R. So Y can be written as their linear combination. So let us take the elements C1, C2, C3 up to Cn from the ring R such that Y can be written as a linear combination denoted by summation Ci xi, where I varies from 1 to n. Now because C1, C2, C3 up to Cn, these are the elements of ring R. So the n tuple formed by C1, C2, C3 up to Cn, that is an element of Rn. Now if we find the image of this element under phi, then by definition of mapping phi, this is given by summation Ci xi, where I varies from 1 to n, and this element is y. So we have proved that for y belonging to M, there exists an element C1, C2, C3 up to Cn, this n tuple from Rn, such that image of this element under phi, that is y. So by definition, we can say that phi is onto. So we have proved all the conditions for being an isomorphism. So we have proved the mapping phi from Rn into M, that is an isomorphism of free R modules. So we can say that Rn and M are isomorphic. So this completes the proof of this theorem. Now, in the next theorem, V is non-zero finitely generated vector space over a field F. We are to prove that V admits a finite basis. To prove this, let us take a subset of V that generates V, consisting of the elements x1, x2, x3 up to xn. So this is a subset of V that generates V. Now, if this will be linearly independent, then it will form a basis. And if this set is not linearly independent, then we can apply the definition of linearly dependent set. So by definition, there will exist scalars from the field F. These scalars we have taken as alpha 1, alpha 2, alpha 3 and so on up to alpha n. These scalars are not all 0, such that the linear combination alpha 1 x1 plus alpha 2 x2 and so on up to alpha n xn, this is 0. Now because in this linear combination, not all the scalars are 0. So for simplicity, let us take the scalar alpha 1 is non-zero. Now because alpha 1 is non-zero, so from this expression, we can find the value of x1 by shifting these terms on the right side and dividing throughout by alpha 1. So we get the value of x1, which is given by minus alpha 2 x2 upon alpha 1, minus alpha 3 x3 upon alpha 1 and so on, minus alpha n xn upon alpha 1. Let us denote these terms by beta 1, beta 2, beta n. So x1 can be written as beta 1 x1, beta 2 x2 plus beta 3 x3 and so on up to beta n xn. So we have shown that the vectors x2, x3, x4 and so on up to xn, they also generates V. Now if this set is linearly independent, then we get a finite basis for V, and if this set is linearly dependent, then we can continue the process as before, and we will omit one more element. So we can continue like this and we arrive at a linearly independent set that also generates V. And this process must end before we exhaust all the elements. In the extreme case, if we had come to a single element that generates V, then the single element will form a basis, because every non-zero element in V forms a linearly independent set, and hence we can say that V also admits a finite basis. So we have proved that if V is non-zero finitely generated vector space over a field F, then V has a finite basis. So this completes the proof of this theorem.